talk to you today, to talk to you particularly about European funding. And I suppose what I want to do is to start by saying to you that this is a funding source that's available for everybody. The common feature of the funding is that it's available for everybody who is doing research and innovation. And so for any of you in startup companies or early stage companies, for example, where you're doing research, you have a disruptive technology of some kind, this is for you. And I want to talk to you a little bit about that. I suppose my first slide is a bit busy and it's a series of pictures essentially. But I wanted to make the point to you that if you look at the very top of the slide, you'll see a picture of somebody out there responding to the Ebola crisis some time back. And I think that's something that everybody can respond to. If you look on the right, we have a similar type of an image to show you something associated with the Zika virus, a more recent epidemic that we're all quite aware of. And I put the pictures there just to make my first point to you. Quite often when you're looking at European funding, in Horizon 2020, you're looking at a fund of over 70 billion euros. It's a fund which is all about solving global challenges, global issues. And so when you're looking for funding, are you working on something that is considered a global challenge? And they're actually two health-related challenges, but equally you could be looking at climate change, energy needs, whatever it is that we have in the world today as a global challenge. Is your business in the area of making a case for your piece of solving a puzzle that we have in the world today? When you look at the middle of the slide, you'll see Airbus on the left, and actually I wanted to choose one that people locally might be more familiar with Intel, and Intel Labs Europe in this case. I suppose another point that I would make to you with European funding and Horizon 2020 is that one, it's about looking for money, it's about looking for funding, but the other is that it's about doing your day job, doing your business. And so you have companies as large as Airbus who are doing their business, and they're doing that through Horizon 2020, through the funding that they get through Horizon 2020, but equally through the network of partners, the companies, the small, medium enterprises and high-tech researchers that they can interact with through this fund. And so that's a very interesting part of this European opportunity. Can you use it to access the big players, the big companies that you might want to do business with? And along the bottom, I just had an image of a bunch of young, early-stage researchers taking their first step using Horizon 2020 funding, and on the right, a group of Nobel Prize winners. And again, just to make the point to you that Horizon 2020, this huge European fund, actually funds researchers and young companies as well, from that earliest stage of career right through to the very mature stage. There's something in there for everybody. And I suppose a point I would make about all of these examples on this slide is that in every case, there's an Irish researcher or an Irish company or more than one involved in Horizon 2020 projects right now in each of these areas. And I think the only one we don't have is we don't have our own Nobel Prize winner actually using Horizon funding right now, but we're looking for them. We would love to have one. So I'll move on, and I wanted to, I suppose, tell you a little bit about this great fund that's out there. It's huge, but actually in a small country like Ireland, are we capable of using it? In many of your countries, are you capable of using it? And I suppose for us in Ireland, here we are, this very small country on the periphery of Europe, you might say. But actually, when you take a look at how we use this fund, we're absolutely capable of doing that. And we have over €500 million of funding in the current programme. €500 million of funding. And that's something that you could be part of. We typically compare ourselves, and I put up just one little schematic there, where we compare ourselves to other innovative, probably longer term investment in research type countries, and you'll see we're right there with them. And I suppose I pulled up a Google map then, and what you have here is every one of those little red and white markers is actually a small medium enterprise that has received or been awarded funding through Horizon 2020, sitting right here in this location in Grand Canal Dock. You're surrounded by these companies, and so there's an opportunity for you. I suppose the other point I would make is that not only do we have the companies, but we're down the road from Trinity College, one of the top 50 Horizon 2020 universities in Europe. And again, there may be opportunities for you to access research, access the people. For us, I would say it's all about the people, and I wanted to just give you 3 or so examples. This is Kenneth Wolfe in University College Dublin, a professor who recently received his second very, very high-level €1 million award through Horizon 2020. And his area of research is about the evolution of the genetic code. And you think, oh, that sounds very high-tech. But he's a man who actually says humans are much more boring than yeasts, which I think is quite interesting. But I use him as an example to show you, in this country, for example, our researchers can use Horizon 2020 and they can do it at a very high level. And if you have a small medium enterprise, a startup company, and it's in an area that we have academics in the country using Horizon 2020, perhaps a step for you is local. Get to know the person in the university who might have ideas, might help with your developments, and you may be able to work together. That could be a first step. Another example, our single biggest Horizon 2020 award ever, €22 million, to Glanbia, and a partnership here in Ireland, where they're developing or trying to develop a new biorefinery based on the site of an old mine in Lisheen in County Tipperary. A very, very significant project in the Irish context. So here's a large multinational leading a project. If you are looking for some type of development, some kind of interaction with others, where you can learn for your company and they can use what you're developing, can you make contact with somebody like Glanbia and their team based in your region? Based in Tipperary, for example, in this case, can you make use of that? My third example is a very interesting one for us. It's a startup company. It's Tony and John, a medical device engineer and an ICU doctor, coming together, funded locally in Ireland, going out to win Horizon 2020 funding. And this is very serious funding at a very early stage in their company development, their company having started in 2015. For us, some of the points for you today, it's €1 million funding, it's grant aid, there's no equity, there's no giving up a part of your business. There's a very serious development step that you can take, and you can do that through Horizon 2020. So as I say, if you're a company with a disruptive technology, perhaps this is for you. I suppose a couple of other people, we would have a team in Ireland of about 30 advisors. These are the people who are here to help you to take a look at Horizon 2020, to decide what will you do, how could you approach it, is it for you at this time, at this stage of development, for example. And again, going back to the point that Ireland is a very small country, it's small enough that we can give you a hands-on support and really, really work with you to help your company to use the program. So to finish, I just wanted to, I suppose, come back to funding. It is a fund. It's a €70 billion fund. In 2020, we'll move over to the next phase, the next round of funding, where we have a draft budget at the moment of €100 billion. And so what I would say to you is, if you haven't looked at the programme, looked at the fund before, perhaps now is the time. It's a fund that's growing. For those of you who are based locally, if you haven't interacted with the support team, now is the time. We'd love to talk to you. And what I would say to some of our visitors today, and particularly to some of our investors who have come in from other countries, we have a cohort of companies who have this €1 million scale grant aid through Horizon 2020, who are looking at their next step. And we'd love if you would take a look at those companies and see if there's something that we could do to work together. So that's it for Horizon. As I say, we're here to help. Pick up the phone or come and talk to me afterwards. Okay, thank you very much.